Everybody. Ooh. Where's Peggy?
I'm coming.
Oh, finally.
All right.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hi.
We're the Wildflowers.
Yes, we
and
are.
We're happy to be here.
Yes, this is our 9th podcast.
Oh,
Lucky
wow.
Number 9.
Number 9. What are we going to do for the 10th one? We got to celebrate somehow.
We'll drink wine.
That is so different.
And chocolate.
Yes. Ooh, I like that.
Maybe
Definitely.
we could do a wine pairing thing.
Ooh.
I could deal with that.
Yeah.
I love
I'll
people
suffer
watching me
through
chew.
it.
Yeah.
I will
love
suffer through
it.
it.
Yeah.
But anyways, how was your weekends, everybody?
Well, you know.
It was very good.
Yes, I accomplished some things, but we'll go into that in a minute because I want to hear about your little trip into the city.
Yes. Oh, yes. We went into, the family and I went to the city last weekend and we saw Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods.
Oh, how was it?
It was excellent.
Oh,
as I thought it
good.
would be.
Yeah.
This was the first time I've seen it on Broadway. I've never seen it on Broadway. And I've always loved the musical though. I studied that soundtrack when I was in high school in a theater class that I had. And I just became my favorite. And so to actually see it on Broadway was, I mean, Stephen Sondheim was a genius.
I love him. I love him.
It's such a loss that we lost him.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Into the Woods at all? Or?
I think, was Meryl Streep in the movie or something?
In the movie, she was, right.
Yeah.
And Bette Midler played on the original Broadway Saturday.
Oh,
she was
right.
the witch.
I love Bette Midler.
No, I
she's
should
so
really
talented.
see it. I was paranoid at the time of going into a theater when you asked us if we wanted to go.
Yeah.
But now I got my other booster, so now I'm feeling
Good
a
for
little
you,
more.
Peg.
Yeah, I said I'm just gonna get it.
Yeah.
I've managed not to get COVID, since the beginning.
Good for you.
I know. We're gonna be talking about superstitions. I still do this one.
But the play was awesome. The funny thing about this was with my girls, they know the soundtrack so well, but I was lucky enough to be seated. We were sat first, but then a family sat next to me, and a girl probably about 11 maybe as well sat next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, so I turned to her and I was like, look, I'm going to be singing, so I hope you don't mind. I did.
I'm a killer.
No, the mother turned to me too. She goes, oh, that's okay. She goes, she loves Into the Woods, and we've seen the movie. She knows all the songs.
Yeah.
So I was okay. So something that brought me joy, we just finished talking about joy of enjoyment, was that during the songs, I saw this girl through the corner of my eye constantly. And we met eyes, and she kept looking over at me to see if I was singing.
Oh, okay.
At the best part. And then she started leaning over to me. She goes, this is the best part of the song.
Aww.
And her and I connected so well through this song.
Nice.
And then I was like, so then I started connecting to her too. And I said, this is the best song of the whole play. She goes, it is. And that just made it so amazing.
Well, wait, now were your girls okay with you singing, or did you embarrass them?
No, I embarrass them all the time. But they're used to it by now. But my girls loved the show, and they really enjoyed this musical. And I think the beauty about this musical, if you haven't seen it, see the movie, or you can even catch the musical on some sort of streaming device, whatever it is. We are every character at some point of our lives, and that's the genius of Stephen Sondheim. I remember thinking when I was in high school, I could relate with such and such character. And then now here I am, years later. I've seen how I've been so many different characters. And they're fairy tale characters. We all know the stories. Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella. We all know these stories. And the way he wrote it is pure genius. I don't know if he gets the credit. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. But that it really deserves. It's a great score.
I
should
go before it closes.
Riley would love it.
I love fairy tales. That's what I read mostly when I was a kid growing up, fairy tales. And actually, I just bought Stephen King's new book. It's called Fairy Tales.
Okay.
So I haven't read it.
It's only until January.
I know.
And
I was going to text the two of you, I think it was on Thursday night, because I watched Pinocchio on the Disney Channel.
Oh, I wanted to see
that.
that.
Tom Hanks.
I'm surprised you watched it.
How was it?
Wow.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it reminds me that I'm wondering how true do I know the whole actual story of Pinocchio?
Oh, well, you could read it.
Yeah. That's an idea.
Yes.
It's a book that has not been banned.
That's
yet.
right.
Yeah, really. No, I love Tom Hanks, and he played the part very well. And I kept thinking, okay, I should have little ones with me when I'm watching this, but you know,
I love Disney stuff.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
have little ones
You know
with
what?
you.
Can I tell you? When I was younger, I thought it was corny. Disney.
Oh, really?
On Sunday nights, I thought, oh, this is so corny.
God, I
Oh,
love
me
the
too.
wonderful world of Disney. I
I
couldn't
loved
wait till it came on
I don't
Sunday
know
night.
why.
Me too.
I did. Although I don't know if it was Disney or not, but I remember watching Cinderella with Leslie Ann Warren and all the songs. And my brother knows the songs. I was sitting in my own little corner in my own little chair.
Right.
And actually, it was so funny on TikTok. They had Leslie Ann Warren with from Cindy, and so weird because I mentioned it to you a couple weeks ago. I'm like, okay, why is it coming up now? This is weird, but yeah. So I watched Pinocchio.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, you get the Disney Channel.
I do.
So so with Tom Hanks, and so it's cute.
Excellent.
So so that's cool. What did I do? Well, this week I actually finished the first draft of my 5th novel.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, it's the first draft, so the two of you won't get it. I'm figuring I'm going to let it sit idle for about 2 weeks so that it's not fresh in my mind, because sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, oh, I think I already wrote that scene.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
I have 2. Well, number 1, on October 1st, America's Next Great Author, they're going to tell the people who won.
Now, when is this? October 1st.
That's just
Wow, that's coming up fast.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath, whatever. But one of the
Oh,
thank you. One of the things they sent an email to me, they said, would I share, and that wasn't just to me, to anybody that did it, what's next? Like, okay, so you did this, but what are you doing next? And I'm like, it's always what's next for me, because it's always what I'm working on. I'm a writer. So it's not like it's that one and done deal. So I was like, what's next? I'm editing and finishing, working on my 5th novel. So I have 2 working titles, and who knows if either of them will work, but I'd love to get 2 of your feedback.
Tell me.
Okay, now bear in mind, this is the sequel to Of Little Faith.
Okay.
So the baby that was born in Of Little Faith is now about 18 years old.
Okay.
The first title that I was playing around with, Wallowing in the Debris. You don't like that? Okay.
No way.
No.
Okay. The second one, After They Were Yours.
That one.
That's the one that I was leaning
Yeah,
to.
I don't like
But the other one, Wallowing in
that
the
has to go
Debris.
away.
Yeah, no, that's no.
So you're not going to see Wallowing in the
No,
Debris.
that's awful.
That's not
I'm
good.
sorry.
It is. No, I agree.
No.
It is.
It's just so.
No.
It's like a biography of a
Wallowing.
sanitation engineer or something.
That's what it's about!
Oh.
After They Were Yours, it kind of reminds me of before she was a Finley. Like it's just kind of, you know. But
that's
I mean,
why
but it's the same author, and so it has a certain.
Yeah, but it's not the same story.
But it
it's not
works
the same
for this
story.
one. But it
Yeah.
works for this one.
But it does work. I would like that because it would catch me. It would catch me if I were to see it.
So
in
we'll
the
see.
store.
Like again, it's so early in the process.
It's like that Jojo Moyes book before Me Before You.
Right.
And
Right.
I know.
So
I have to. We're her beta testers. She's got.
Yes.
I'm not saying we're the only ones, but we've
Yeah.
been her beta testers, and I have to say, I really enjoyed the process because I feel like even though I'm not a writer and I'm not an author, like I could tell her, you need to close this up. Like, I need to know what's going on with you. And then I feel like in a way it's my book too, because if she takes my recommendations, but she doesn't always.
Right, no, not always.
Yeah, but we're always very honest with her.
That's
you
what
know.
I really value that. I don't want yes people. I
Yeah.
really don't. It doesn't value.
I'm
It doesn't.
a yes person.
No, not.
You know
And neither is
that.
Peggy, and that's what I appreciate. Do I always agree with what they say? No.
No.
It's my book in the end.
And then we don't talk to her for a couple of
At
weeks.
least a week or two.
Yeah, and we get really nasty with each other.
Yes,
There are emails and texts.
No.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah. No, but because they are familiar with my writing and my journey and that kind of thing, so I do value with what they're doing. So Yeah, like I said, I'm putting it to bed for a little bit. I'll work on some essays and that kind of thing. And then I'll go back and it'll be fresh in my mind. I'm like, okay, does this make sense? Is this worked out with the flow? Is this the plot points making sense? So, yeah. But I enjoy the process. Our last podcast we talked about enjoyment and joy. And I do, and like I had somebody comment, because I wrote on social media how I finished my first draft of this, and they were a little snarky. They were like saying, well, I like having written, I like a finished book. I don't like the process. And I'm like, oh.
And it probably comes across that in the book.
Yeah, it probably does.
That's a little snarky.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I looked up her books and I'm like, okay, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
But
Now you're being snarky.
like no, if that's
Is that kind of a day for us?
Yeah, exactly. It started out snarky.
It did.
No,
Her
but that's
fault.
okay.
Well, I was thinking of doing something because I get an email every day from dictionary.com with the word of the day, and I really love it, and I love that whole website.
Right.
There's quizzes, but they sent me an email and they're having a contest. It's very simple. It's nothing like a real writer because I'm not. But the contest is 50 words, the opening of a story, either science fiction or horror, and that's, they're my genres, fantasy.
Right.
So I've said, oh, maybe I should do it.
You should.
$100 gift card.
All right, listen. Peggy has come to me with so many book ideas. I still love the dog book idea.
Yeah, that's.
You've
well,
been pitching
yeah.
book ideas since we've been at Borders.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But anyway, I might just do it for the fun of it. So I've been thinking about
What
it.
do you have to lose?
Yeah, and I know nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I think that's
50 words isn't a lot.
No, it's
because
not.
I said, oh my God, because I started thinking of stuff and I said, oh, that's way more than 50 words.
Right, and that's that's.
But it's got to be something like this. It's got to really grab somebody. So.
Well, you do know that we're gonna nag you.
I know. Well, I think this week I'll work on
We'll
that.
check on you on the next podcast.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
write it down, because if Kara writes it down,
No,
then it has to be
you write it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peggy, what do you have to write? 50 words.
Yeah, 50 words.
Okay.
There it is, done. We'll get back to you on that.
Definitely. Very cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, do we want to give them a hint for next our next podcast? We're gonna have
this is gonna be new.
Yes, we're going to have a guest in our 10th
And
podcast.
a male.
Yes. No, this is our 9th.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So.
Also for our anniversary. Too.
Yes. So our 10th one, we're actually having Mickey Grossman come in, and he's been known from different names, either a spiritualist, a psychic, a medium. And Peggy and I know him from when we had our bookstore, Turn of the Corkscrew Books and Wine. And he would, on Friday evenings, he would have a line of people that he would read. Now, he's not going to read for us, per se. We're going to quiz him on, we're going to ask him.
We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I don't know if I want to be read. But we're going to ask him, what's the difference between a psychic and a medium? What's, how did you know you were one?
He does have a story about that. I remember him talking about that. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, so that will be our 10th podcast, so be sure to watch it. But, I'm really, really sad that my wine glass is empty, so I'm just saying
okay.
It is my turn for the wine.
Yes.
And I did bring wine, a red one. I have to start mixing this up.
Yeah, I think I do wine next.
Okay.
I'm not going to do a red.
That's
I'm going to go back to my whites.
Now, I brought this wine, and I apologize because I picked it up on the way here, so I didn't do much. I'm not that prepared. So
sorry, Savannah is barking.
It's a good wine, supposedly. At least I paid for it. This is 2016 Robert Hall Syrah. I hope I said that.
Okay,
I like
It's
Syrah.
from Paso Robles.
Oh, I've been to Paso Robles. I know someone who lives there.
There's a lot of wineries in Paso.
Yes,
Here,
there
pass
are.
me your wine glass. I'll start pouring as we talk.
Just a little bit for me.
Why?
Stop.
Alright, there we go. And so this wine is, I said it's a Syrah already, and it retails at the wine store. It's not a Total Wine. So at the regular wine store, 777 Wine Store, West Islip, New York, it retailed for $22.99,
Oh, okay.
I believe. I was inspired by your last choice, Peggy. I said, well, maybe we should try something a little out of our normal
Yeah.
price range.
That's
and
3 in a
try-
row. Carol did one over 20
I didn't know she was
also.
doing that. So wait, let's toast.
Okay,
to...
all right. So this will
Yeah.
air on October 1st.
Okay, so October 1st, what do you want to toast to? There's a few birthdays in October.
Yes, my daughter's birthday, your
My
dad's.
dad, they share the same birthday.
Riley's birthday is tomorrow.
Oh,
And my granddaughter.
oh, that's
She's gonna be 14 years old tomorrow. I know.
I remember being 14.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God,
okay.
what's that girl?
that's
And
all.
my sister-in-law Jean, who just
Yes.
was visiting.
Yes.
It's her birthday tomorrow too.
Oh, well,
Wow.
happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Well, let me throw some words up. My nephew Finn's birthday
Oh,
is
happy
early
birthday.
October 4th.
Okay.
And I have my old roommate in college, Mia Shalene. Her
Oh, okay.
birthday is also in early October as well. So
Very
happy
nice.
birthday.
Happy
Birthday.
birthday
to all of our
the
friends and
birthday
family.
people.
Right, and to our podcast.
Yes.
Absolutely. Ready? Here we go.
Uh-huh. Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like
It's
it
very
too.
flavorful. I like it when you can really taste all those flavors.
Yeah, it's very flavorful.
What's the finish?
Cinnamon. I don't
No,
know.
it's not
I can.
Mm.
I don't know.
I'm trying to smell it. Now, it's interesting, the last one we tasted with Peggy, with Carol, I'm sorry, the one you chose, Carol, the smell of it was really good.
Yeah, but it didn't have
This-
the flavor.
Right,
Yeah.
but this one, smell is that good, but the taste is really
Yeah,
delicious.
it's very nice. Very smooth, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fuller body.
I like this one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
That's
look
a
into
good
that
one.
one. See,
This
it's
is
total
very
wine.
good. This is well done
Mm.
to me. Okay, Robert.
Robert Hall that had the clothing
Well,
store.
tell
I
that
wonder.
story, because I never heard of
Robert
this.
Hall was a big clothing store.
It could be.
And I don't know if it
I
was
don't
only
know.
New York or the tri-state area. It might have been national. And actually, years ago, I worked for them, but they had opened up a store called Robert Hall Village, where they didn't only sell clothing. They were kind of like a Kmart, I guess.
Oh,
And they
okay.
sold all, housewares, all kinds of stuff.
Well,
And then they went out of business
Well,
a few years later.
Well, I
But
don't know
Robert
this
Hall was
Robert-
in business for years.
well, I looked quickly before here, and it's a well-known person. So
Yeah,
maybe it is.
maybe it was him. Yeah,
That would be kind of a nice
Yeah,
coincidence.
I'll have to look that up.
That's a really
Yeah.
nice selection,
Mm.
Judy.
Thank
Yeah,
you
it was
very
very
much.
good.
Thank you, 777 Wines.
Very
Ooh,
good.
love
Well, I guess it's talking about a book, and
Mm.
it's my turn. And today I'm going to talk about the Book of Extraordinary
Oh, I like that title.
Tragedies.
it.
Book of Extraordinary. Now, there's a little backstory to this. This is an advanced reader copy. The publisher, Akashic Press, and I do apologize for the dog barking upstairs.
Who wrote this?
This is by Joe Meno. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. Sorry if I'm not. So I wrote a review for this book for Goodreads, and I put it on Amazon. Then I got an email from Amazon saying that they wouldn't post it because it didn't follow their guidelines, which really pissed me off. Because I was like, what are the guidelines?
Did you curse or something?
I emailed them, and the
No,
email.
she means in the review.
did you
Did you
first-
use
Oh,
it
okay,
in
yeah,
a language or?
I printed out the review, so
Okay.
I'll read it to you. But I emailed them, and the email bounced back because you can't email them directly.
Oh gosh.
So then I could do a chat, so I did a chat, and I could tell it was with a bot. Because
Oh,
what they were
okay.
saying was not responding to it.
Mhm.
So I said, I need a real person. And within 10 minutes, a real person called me. So I read the review to her, and she goes, I don't see the problem with this. But they still never put it up. So I was really upset because the publisher, I did promise them that I would review it, and they were very happy with the Goodreads, but whatever. So here's what I wrote. Book of Extraordinary Tragedies pulled me into a world that felt heavy and tragic, yet expressed without asking for pity. It's described as the outrageousness of ordinary life, on the book flap, and that is certainly true. The family is sunk in debilitating, albeit sometimes humorous mental illness, or just above that in this layman's diagnosis. Surviving each day is a challenge, but giving up is not an option. I couldn't stop rooting for Alec throughout. He was the protagonist. If readers are looking for a tidy ending, they won't get it. However, if readers are looking for a well-written work of fiction, I cannot recommend this highly enough. And that was my review that Amazon wouldn't post.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a verified buyer or something?
No, it used to be, but now you don't.
Oh.
But the thing is that I found it very interesting because the book that the draft that I just finished, it deals with mental illness. And that's why I found this very interesting. And when I say that it doesn't demand pitting, there are scenes that, you laugh because you're like, oh, this is just crazy. This family is just off the charts, what they're dealing with. They're geniuses. You can tell that they're geniuses. And I find that very interesting that sometimes geniuses do come across as
Crazy.
Crazy people.
I don't like using that word, but challenging and
Crazy.
Crazy.
No offense,
Yeah.
Carol. They do. Sometimes they do. Doesn't mean that
Yeah.
they are, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
comes across as.
exactly. So
I was thinking of when you were talking about this review, Stones of Summer. Was it like that? Like, because
not
that
really.
that dealt with a whole
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
read that one.
Oh.
Stones of Summer.
that was such a good book.
no, this is the book. The protagonist. He's he's like 18 years old, and he takes his family basically under his wing. His mother is writing this story about George Clooney and Tom Cruise, and it's just like, what? And then his sister, she's a musical genius, but she's not secure in her, the way she wants to perform for this, organization, and he's trying to encourage her, and she's got a child who is deaf. Not totally deaf, but he's teaching her sign language. So
It could be a movie.
yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting characters, and it's just I just love a book that I know that this sounds very lame, but a book that I know I could never write.
Yeah.
I enjoy reading something that I know I could never write, and this is one of them. And Joe Meno is just apparently, according to the publisher, he's a really nice guy. And so we want to get as much attention for the book of extraordinary tragedy. So
All right, I'm going to say
When-
first. Can I borrow it?
I have a stack of books
I do
on
too,
my
but I
list.
want to borrow
When
Here
is it
you are,
being
Judy.
released? When is
Thank
it coming
you.
out?
it is out. It just came out this week, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I like stories that bring you into
September
a world
6th it came out.
you don't
Oh,
think
okay.
you can write, stories that you may not be able to imagine yourself. It can just bring you into
Yeah.
that world. It gives you a greater
Yeah.
understanding.
Oh yeah,
of
definitely.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
broadens
Yeah.
your
That's
horizons.
something
And,
I'd love to read.
does he live like in New York or?
I know what you're going to want him to for an event.
You're so obvious.
Really. Does he live in the area? He is. I don't have my glasses
I
on.
don't need glasses. I'm not as old as you. Short story, hairstyle.
I could
He's
ask this
professor in English and creative writing at
Where?
Columbia College, Chicago.
Oh,
Some.
not New York.
No,
Not New York.
no.
But anyway,
That's your
so,
fault.
and I gotta say, his publisher is Akashic Press, and you'll see me reviewing a lot of their books because Johnny Temple started the publisher. He started them in the Publishers Weekly. Just had an article about Johnny, because he's in a rock band, and he was a successful musician, and he used that money to start his publishing house because he cares for good fiction, and probably his
We love
books.
good fiction.
One of
here.
his books is called "Go the Fuck to Sleep," and it's a children's book.
Oh, I
and it's
know that book.
it's
That's
hysterical.
a good book. That's
And
a funny
Samuel,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jackson.
Samuel
Right.
Jackson
Who,
wrote
that wasn't, who did you say wrote that book? Oh, you mean one of the books that he published?
Published,
I was gonna say, no,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name,
That was a
but
funny
Yeah,
book.
no.
that book is hysterical.
It is
It's the
hysterical.
best.
It is
It's the
true.
best.
And
But
if
we-
you watch it on YouTube, the way that
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson,
Yes.
Oh, God.
you will die. And there's another one. It's a woman from India, a grandmother who is reading it
Oh, God.
to her grandchild, and she can't, she's like, whoa! But she reads the whole book. It's hysterical.
That's fun.
But I know we've had discussions about good fiction, and it's nice to know that there's a publisher that's dedicated
Yes.
to
Yeah.
publishing
He
good
does
fiction.
the noir series, like
Oh,
Brooklyn
nice.
Noir.
I'll definitely
yeah.
read this book.
Definitely.
I
Okay,
can't
awesome.
promise it'll be right away, but
Well,
I will
yeah.
get
you
to
still
it.
have to
We'll
read
get to
Age
it.
of the Child. You still have to read
Oh,
that.
I'm in the middle of that book.
Cool.
I'm in the middle of lots of books.
Okay.
But it's I'm one of those readers that hop and depending upon them. But I am but I can
Yeah.
pick up right. Yeah, no, I'm in the
Wow,
middle of
that's
that book.
impressive.
I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're going to take a brief break.
Okay.
And then you've got to come back because Peggy is going to be doing the topic of.
Superstitions and old wives' tales.
That's going to be a
That's right.
blast. I can't wait.
Excellent.
Very cool.
That sounds very nice.
Welcome back. Yes, you're back.
Yes.
Well, I hope you're
Well,
back.
maybe they
Oh,
don't,
Peggy's
you don't
not
know
back,
that.
but
Here I am, now I'm back.
Excellent.
Then you're back.
I am back.
Welcome back, ladies. Cheers
Cheers
to Robert Hull, whoever he may be.
Yeah, we're going to find out if he's the Robert Hall.
Yeah. So it seems unlikely, but who knows?
Mm.
But speaking of superstitions, what we're going to be talking about, one of the superstitions that I read about very briefly, I don't know much about it. It was just like a little line of something that I read. I don't know where it is now. It's in one of these notes here. Oh, okay.
No cards.
In Germany, if you toast somebody with water, you're wishing them death.
I've done that.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it says in Germany, if you want to wish death to someone, toast them with water to the formal guy.
I didn't want to offend anybody. That's why I didn't say
Oh, I didn't drink.
Mm.
Had a drink.
See, that's one thing my daughter gets very mad at.
That's evil.
It's that if you toast,
You have
so
to.
many people put their glass down
No.
instead of taking a sip, and I did that once, and Natasha was like, "What are you doing?"
Those are not my kind of people.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not her
This
kind
is
of
going to
person.
be a fun topic.
Yes, it is
Oh
going
my
to be a
God.
fun topic, so we have to make sure that we don't run over because Judy has a lot to say about it too.
Yeah.
And
always have a lot
I
to say.
started with this book that I bought many, many years ago. It's another book I paid $4.95 for, and it's not the best book, and some of those superstitions are
What's
dumb.
it called?
It is called Cross Your Fingers, Spit in Your Hat, Superstitions and Other Beliefs. Alvin Schwartz, remember he did the scary stories to tell after dark? That whole series of kids'
You
books.
show the cover of this book. This looks like the cast of Fat Albert. Like the cartoon is not like a Fat Albert cartoon on here.
Let me show you closer.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's still in print. It might be
Oh
out
my
of print
God.
by
I can
now.
actually
So.
take a picture
But anyway,
of this.
Alvin Schwartz did a lot of those scary story books, the kids' books. So I would start, first of all, one of my grandmothers was very superstitious. So I grew up listening to superstitions
What side of the family?
on my mother's side.
Thank you.
My
Okay.
grandmother on my father's side, she was Nana, not Grandma. They lived in Pennsylvania. I don't think that she was superstitious, but I didn't spend as much time with her as Grandma because
Right.
Grandma lived in the same neighborhood as us.
Can I just ask a question before you get into it? Not because it's, I just think it can be relevant to the overall discussion. Would you mind sharing the cultural backgrounds behind your grandparents and who was more superstitious or not as you go along?
Okay, well, both of my grandmothers were Irish.
Okay.
I just found out that, we were raised to be 100% Irish, but we're not. Like, I'm 25% Scottish. I just found out they just updated my DNA. But Irish background.
Okay.
My grandmother, my maternal grandma, was very Brooklyn Irish.
Okay.
Very, very Brooklyn. She said burl instead of boil and goil. And look at that goil over there, meaning girl. She was very, very Brooklyn. My other grandmother too, she was Irish, and she
Okay.
lived in Mahanoy City, Pennsylvania, which is pretty rural, a town in the mountains of Pennsylvania. So a whole different, Brooklyn, little
Okay.
town in Pennsylvania.
That's
Well,
okay.
anyway,
That can be important.
It's funny you asked that question. I don't want to railroad this, but I was thinking of the subject before you left because my grandmother on my father's side of the family was very superstitious. And she lived right down the road from us. We were raised, she was Catholic. My mother's mother, who I didn't know as well, was a Protestant. And she was not superstitious.
Yeah.
As far as I know. But it was all about the Bible, and anything superstitious was not honoring God.
Yeah, it was sacrilegious.
Right.
No, that's the difference between
Right.
the Catholics and the Protestants, because I was raised a Catholic, my family is Catholic. And I was talking to my sisters about this, because we were talking about all the superstitions that we grew up with. Not that we really believed them,
Right.
but we always wore a miraculous medal. So like before you took a test, you would grab your miraculous medal. So Mary, I hope I passed the test.
Right.
Like I was always rubbing it, or if you wore a crucifix, you would see people grab
Now,
it.
that's different than like the scapula, correct?
Yes, the scapular is the one that you got, it's the cloth one.
Right.
So I had a scapula too, but I didn't wear it all the time. But your miraculous medal you wore all the time. You never took it off.
Okay.
So that was like a superstition about religion. It's like you rub it and it's going to bring you luck because you're connecting with a divinity.
Now, do you remember taking it off?
God, it is funny. I don't remember, but I was probably, when I got out of high school, I probably stopped wearing it because that's when I stopped going to mass too. So, but now you made me forget what I was going to say. I was going to say something about that. And it's
So
gone.
sorry.
It's gone.
There's your note card.
So it was going. That brings me to knock on wood, and the origin of knock on wood was Christian. That the people believed that in churches they used to have like a piece of wood that they would claim was from the true cross, and people would touch it, and it would connect them with the divinity and bring them good fortune. So that's where the knock on wood came from.
And I'm guessing that's from the Catholic Church.
I did not know that.
Christianity, they say. So, but there was another thing about the knock on wood. I have so many notes.
She does.
We gotta get you a new
So
system.
you knock on. Well, I have two different systems. That's the problem.
They're not
Knocking
working.
on wood, it avoids jinxing yourself, and that's what it says. Medieval time churchgoers would touch wood that the church claimed was from the true cross, and teaching them. Touching the wood supposedly gave a connection to the divinity.
Jinxing.
So I
That's
remember.
something we could talk about.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Yeah.
like a jinx. Like you say, oh no, it's not going to rain. Don't worry about it. Knock on wood. And I still do that. I still knock on wood. I
Just a
did it
habit.
before.
Yeah.
I knocked on wood.
Yeah.
'Cause
We all did it before.
I'm a little superstitious about that.
Right.
And then another big one.
They're knocking on wood right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
Lacey,
The
don't
dog.
knock on the camera.
Another big one is the number 13.
Yes.
Oh,
Now,
I have
how
some-
do you feel about the number 13?
I have a history with number 13. I love it. I am not superstitious at all, and it's because I think it's the way you were raised. Now, I was raised with a lot of superstitions. This was not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
My childhood home is number 13.
Oh, okay.
It was bought, my parents bought this house on Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And so I've always been raised to know that there's nothing bad about this house or about this number, even though I lived at 13 blah 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 street,
Yeah.
and it was bought on Friday the 13th, and they still live there. And
Wow.
so
Yeah.
I actually choose the number 13 if it's a choice because I it's not unlucky to me.
Right.
But it's very
So-
interesting that hotels don't have a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Some of them do, most of them don't. I used to work for the Equitable Life Insurance when I got out of high school, and they had a big building on 6th Avenue, and they did not have a 13th floor.
Oh,
It was weird. But do you know what the word is for fear of the number 13?
trick us. No,
No, you're right.
Trick.
Triskaidekaphobia. Yeah. Yeah, and that started in the Norse mythology. There were 12 gods were invited to dine at Valhalla, and Loki, the god of evil,
Yes.
showed up as the 13th guy. There was a big fight, and he killed Balder, who was one of the favorite gods. And then that
Favorite
trick
of who?
among the gods,
Wow.
Balder was one of the favorites.
Oh, wow.
Then that trickled down into Europe. With the Christians started that with the Last Supper. There were 12 people at the Last Supper, and
yes.
Judas showed up. And of course, we know that he betrayed Christ.
Judas was one of the 12.
Well,
No,
Yeah.
no. If
Yeah.
you look at no, he wasn't a disciple.
I wanted to
at
say
the time.
also, wasn't Mary Magdalene at that Last Supper as well?
Yeah, yeah.
But they would acknowledge her as a
I
disciple.
need my
Yeah,
interest.
no.
So there we are. That number is kind of a skew
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, that's how that originated. Whether you agree with it or not, that's how it originated, Carol. So anyway, these are old wives' tales. We don't want them. So how about you? You
What about?
with superstitions in your family? Were your parents superstitious?
No. Well, my
Not
dad
even?
was. My dad, I wouldn't know about superstitious. He was more with the Catholic religion. I don't know that you would call this superstitious. I remember
Try us.
his baby sister had died,
Oh,
but he
gosh.
was a baby. I don't even know. I think she might have died even before he was even born. But he would visit her cemetery, and he would say he always heard her crying. As
He
a-
would say.
Yeah, he heard her crying
Oh, at the cemetery.
at the cemetery,
Oh,
and
God.
I'd be like, it probably
Yeah.
was a cat meowing. But
Yeah,
and he
never.
also did say, again, I can't say that this is superstition, but he had a problem with his back. And I just came to me, and it was excruciatingly painful. And he went to church and he prayed to a particular saint. I don't know which saint, and he said he felt it just going out of him, and it was fine. And I also think, though, it's wherever you're raised at, that power of positive thinking can make it work. So he attributed it to whatever he attributed to. Whereas I have friends who aren't religious, but they believe in the power of positive thinking. And how,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Well,
So this is separate from superstition.
Well, there's a lot of superstitions in Catholicism.
yeah. Okay.
Because like you do a lot of praying to saints for things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
oh,
Saint Anthony. I used to pray to Saint Anthony every time I lost something. And I swear, when I was a kid, I really believed that this happened. It probably didn't.
No, I believe
I
it.
lost a quarter, and a quarter when I was a kid was
Yeah.
you could buy
Yeah.
like 5 big candy bars,
Right.
you know. And I was, dear Saint Anthony, please come around. Something is lost and cannot be found. And I kept on chanting it, and all of a sudden a quarter like dropped, like it was from heaven. And I thought,
Wow.
a quarter dropped from heaven. God knows where the quarter was. I don't know. Maybe it was on the back of a chair, or it
Right.
fell
So
on the
it-
floor.
it's
Maybe
a-
my mother dropped it
How
at
many
me.
siblings did you have?
Exactly.
Like, what about, you might have this in your notes, you may, if I jump ahead of, but, because when I was selling my house.
I was just going to say
you know
that.
what? It's not in there. I didn't
That
even
was
think
one
of
I
looking
was
that
going to
up.
bring that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people kept telling me, oh, bury a Saint Joseph
Yes.
in your yard,
Yes.
upside down.
Upside down.
Uh-huh.
It has to be upside down.
Yeah, right, right.
We went to a store to buy it.
Yes,
In
yeah.
Rockville Center in the Advent store.
So I'm like, what the hell? Not that I really
And
believed
it
it.
sold, didn't
Well,
And Anya brought one too. So
Yes.
you had 2 St.
it? But you have to
Josephs.
dig it up after you sell it.
No, we never did.
No, no, I never
it.
dug up
I
mine
couldn't
either.
find it. Couldn't
Yeah.
find it. He
Oh.
left. Joseph left.
Wow.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
left the building.
We my mother did that. She told me she buried a St. Joseph statue we had a condo in Boston, and we didn't have any land, so she said she buried it in a planter.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it sold immediately in a buyer's market. It sold. So I was
Wow.
like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, mine didn't sell
Yeah.
right away. It took quite a while after that, but
Um,
maybe because I was doubting.
yeah.
Could have been.
Then I was reading about horseshoes because horseshoes
Oh,
are
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now I want to buy a horseshoe. I want to
have
get a
some.
horseshoe.
I've got lots of
Do you
them.
have old ones,
I
like
do.
real ones? Can
I
I have
do.
one?
Yes,
I
bring
want
one.
a horseshoe, and I'm gonna hang it on my door because I think it's quaint.
You don't need
Yes.
to hang it in the door. What you have to do is put it under your pillow.
No, I want to hang it on my door because I think that's a very quaint
But you gotta
custom.
hang it the right
Yeah.
way.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
You have to hang it with the opening on top so the luck doesn't run out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see.
So,
Now,
uh-huh.
I didn't know that was the reason, but
That's the reason you nail it above
got a
your
bunch
front
of
door
them.
with the prongs up so that the luck will not run out. Once the shoe is in place, everyone and everything in your home will be safe. And it's because it's
Except
made out
for
of
the horse.
iron, and
Yeah.
iron used to be a sacred metal.
Mhm.
And the shape of it is like a crescent
Yes.
moon. And they said a lot of the older churches too, even their doors were shaped like a
I can see that.
crescent moon, and many people counted on that for protection.
Now,
So-
I had a horseshoe in Belmore in my other house. It's got to be in the garage somewhere.
Oh, I want a real horseshoe. I was gonna order one, and I said I must know somebody who has a horseshoe.
I've got a bunch of horseshoes.
Amanda.
Don't ask me why, but I do have a bunch of. I'll give you some.
Oh my goodness. So
Now I grew up with a lot of superstitions in my family.
did you? Okay,
Yeah.
let's hear it.
So mostly from my mother, who came. She was born in Puerto Rico, but there's a lot of Spanish, Latin American,
She still have
influence there.
family there?
Yes.
Oh.
And
What's
so-
going on there? That's horrible.
But one of the ones I never fully understood, so I researched it for this, was she would always give me grief, and I do it too, and I never knew why. You never put your pocketbook
I'm
on
gonna
the
say
floor.
that, and I yelled
My
at you and you yelled
grandmother.
at me. Remember when you yelled at me
Yeah.
for doing that? And I'm like, Judy,
Yeah, you
I'm like,
don't,
you're a lawyer, you're smart. Why are you?
don't put your pocketbook on the floor.
But I
So I Googled it last night in preparation for this, and I thought it'd be the smashing. No, it came up as Chinese feng shui.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh.
a feng shui thing. It says, considered bad feng shui because a purse equals your wealth, your personal wealth, and therefore you're showing great disrespect or disregard for your money. So basically, if you put your money on there, you're treating it badly. You're not
Yeah.
going to be beneficial with your money and disregard.
It's
for it.
it's
Now,
funny because when I was married, Rob, my then husband, was very upset with me because when I had money in my wallet, I would have the money different which ways. You always keep it in order. Because you have to respect your money. You keep it like all the ones facing up, all the tens facing
No,
up.
that's
all-
just OCD.
Well,
Yeah, I
yeah,
did that when
that-
I worked in a
No,
store.
me too.
But
That's-
in my
that's-
wallet, my
that's
money's a mess.
just for the
Yeah,
bank.
and it
But
wasn't superstition, but it was just
No,
like you
that's
respect it
different.
though.
There's
They're not gonna let me talk. It's fine.
okay, go ahead. Go. No, it's
You're
okay.
talking
No,
about the purse on
Yeah.
the floor, and I read it from Central and South America,
Oh,
where I read it. Yeah, and not
Interesting.
Chinese. And the purse or wallet on the floor is financial bad luck in Central and
Yeah.
South America.
So
So
that
that's
could be-
probably because your mom's Puerto Rican, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
that there's a lot of but when you presented this topic, you said you presented superstitions and myths.
No, and old
That-
wives' tales.
that was-
She
I
was
wrote- I wrote
incorrect.
word myth.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was prepared to talk about all
But
that.
you could talk, a myth is like the same, if you ask me anyway.
No, well, I looked, it's funny, I did some research and we had the best time, my family and I taught looking at this.
Wait, your daughters and
And my husband. We-
Okay.
And American folklore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came across a site, it was just hilarious. But I don't know if it's true or not, but they listed all of these folklore. Some of the stuff we've been talking on there is on there. One of them was find a mouse, boil it, preferably while it's alive.
Yeah.
Put it in a sandwich and feed it to the child that's bedwetting.
Oh God, I know.
Okay, then
There was some
there was
disgusting
some-
superstitions
right, then there was
too,
another
about
one.
fighting off
Another one with a
mouse.
mouse, deep fry a mouse and feed it to the child that is bedwetting. Now the third one, we just hysterical over this one. Make a tea out of corn silk leaves and hot water and feed it to a child that is bedwetting. So you know what? Boiled or fried mice
I
and
know.
a tea.
Yeah, I know.
Which
Go
one
for the
would
tea.
you-
Exactly.
which one would you
Let's
do?
go. But the corn silk you gotta choke to death on.
Oh my God! It's
Yeah.
like the crazy things.
I know.
in
There's
some
a lot
of
of
this
crazy things.
Crazy things.
But wait,
It's the old wives' tales.
That's
But I
That's what
want
they are.
so
Yeah.
what's disturbing is that somebody might have already
done that.
I'm sure that back in the day
Oh
people
my
did
God.
do that.
It's
That's how it
absolute-
got passed down because people did it.
I'm horrified right now. I just want you
Yeah.
to know. I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
horrified.
Well, anyway,
Child's
then
not going to bedwet it again if you feed him
Yeah,
a boiled
they won't
mouse.
go to bed. They won't even sleep.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, well now we have one about black cats.
Ah.
Okay, so
I
there's a
have one.
superstition that you never, cross the path of a black cat,
Right,
like
right.
to go around it. And I was reading about that, and the Egyptians believed good luck. It was good luck
Oh.
And so did King Charles I. He treasured his black cat. When it died, he lamented his luck was gone. He was arrested and charged with treason the next day.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
No, yeah, he
Wow.
actually was beheaded. Yeah.
Because he crossed paths with a black cat?
No.
Because
He
his
thought
luck-
his black cat was good luck.
Right.
And when the cat died, he lamented. He said, now all my luck is gone.
And he was
And
right.
the next day he was arrested for treason.
Now, I'm the person that would see a black cat or any cat and be like, I'm going to you. I would
Yeah.
cross it.
Yeah.
And I have a black cat, Wish.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't believe black cats are bad. Like, never did,
Yeah.
and I've never experienced that.
Well,
Never.
in this country, the Pilgrims thought that they were bad luck because they connected them with witches. You know, like a black cat, it was a witch's familiar, or it could be a witch in disguise, and hence
But
we
why
had
did
Salem
they?
witch
Why
trials.
do they choose black cat? I mean, there are so many. The most common colored
Yeah.
cat is
Well-
like a tiger stripe. They
Well,
call it-
because black is associated with the devil, probably, and evil, and
It's just
you know, who knows? It was just ignorance. And then I was reading about when somebody sneezes and you say, God bless you.
Well, we know what. You're right. You're familiar with me with that. No.
No,
Oh,
what?
you're not?
No.
I
Tell me.
don't ever say God bless you when somebody sneezes.
Oh, what do you say? What Seinfeld says?
No, I just say you need a tissue.
Oh,
Because
what was in Seinfeld? What did he used to say instead of
You're
God bless you?
so
Oh, good looking.
No, I felt that God bless you. Well, number one, I don't believe in that God. And I believe I know why you're supposed to say that. I won't take it away. I won't take the air out of your tires.
Well, no, tell me why you think.
I think because your heart skips a beat and you could die.
That's what I grew up believing.
Yeah.
But that's
But
not
that
That's
isn't
not
what the two that I do first. The first one was people believe when you sneeze you were expelling evil spirits,
Oh.
and they used to say they didn't even say God bless you. They said may God be with you, or you know, like they would do something superstitious, like
Right,
evil
right.
spirits. But then in the 6th century, Pope Gregory the Great put it into place because there was a pestilence
He wasn't
in
so
Italy. He was in Italy. There was a big pestilence and
Right,
people
right.
were dying, and he recommended that every time somebody sneezed, you say God bless you. So
Well,
Now,
it's
would-
funny.
would-
It's
go ahead.
no, it's just funny because like sometimes if it's just me and another person, not like one of my kids or whatever, but like somebody I don't know that well, and they sneeze, and it's just very quiet because I won't say it, but I will say, "Would you need a tissue?" And they automatically think I say God bless you because they say, "Oh,
I'll
thank
say
you."
thank you.
Yeah, I'm like no, I don't correct it. I
Now,
just
would
say
you? You're a hat lady. You like to wear hats. She has a big hat
no.
collection.
Yeah.
I love hats. Would you throw your hat or put your hat on the bed?
now, so that's another one. That's a real old one. I didn't look that
I
one
looked
up.
it up.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
What
What is it?
I would not, or I wouldn't. I mean,
So would you or would you? You just wouldn't do.
It
Would you
wouldn't-
put
it
your
wouldn't
hat on the
matter.
bed?
Yes, I would.
Okay, because it's a big thing. When I asked my husband, I said, "What any superstitions you have?" Now, my husband is not a superstitious person, but the one thing he said was, "I wouldn't throw my hat on the bed." And that surprised me. I go, "Why?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"He throws everything on the bed." I'm like, "Why would you throw your hat on the bed?" You know?
yeah.
And he didn't know why, like, which is funny. So I looked
That's
it up.
not like him at all.
No, it's not. My husband is very rational,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's, will give you 10 arguments why something is what it is. So we looked it up today, and it's because it's supposed to bring evil to but the reason why they believe it came about that way is because, a lot of people wore hats back,
Right.
back in time. And when they would take the hat off, you'd get that static.
Oh, yes.
And so the static would be
assume
something
that-
they can't assume. So they assume this was the evil
Yeah.
spirit is attaching from his, and it's
wow.
going to now
That
attach
was
to
on
the
your
bed.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
now you're going
I
to
didn't
sleep
know
and
that.
you're going to you're going to be evil now.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
that
not.
reminds me, you might again have this in your notes about shoes.
I was going to bring that up next.
Oh, there we
Is
go.
it
All right.
about not
Now,
sleeping?
you know what
Shoes
I-
on the table.
Well, let
Oh,
me
that's
say
different.
something.
Go ahead.
I think we're gonna in a few minutes pause, but we're
Oh.
gonna continue this. I think that
Yeah.
we have a lot more, so we
I
can.
think we still have. We
have
probably
time.
still have 15 minutes.
Stop
I
talking
think
about
15
it.
minutes
Let us
worth of
talk.
sand. Well, Well, anyway, shoes
Okay.
on the table
Yeah.
is a harbinger of death.
Right.
And I have a little story
Oh my
about that. When I
gosh.
was a teenager,
Guys.
I was with my friends and we went up to Myrtle Avenue because I lived in Bushwick, and all the stores were up there, and I bought a new pair of shoes. And then when we came back, we didn't go to my house, we went to my friend's house, and we went up into her kitchen, and her mom was there, and I took my bag with those shoe box in it and put it on the table. And that woman screamed so loud, I was so scared. I jumped, and she said, never put shoes on the table. It means someone's gonna die. So I said, oh my God, that was a new one to me. Even though my sisters say that, my grandmother used to say that too, but I don't
really?
remember that
Okay.
well.
That's not the only harbinger. When you talk about black
Wait,
cats.
there's more to the story.
Yeah, there's more
Oh,
to the
sorry.
story.
No.
No,
so
so I
sorry.
said,
Just
I
'cause I
wonder
know
where
it.
they came from. So it was in the north of England, when a miner died in a mining accident, his shoes would be put on the table in his home as a sign of respect and remembrance.
But I thought you
Oh.
said that somebody did die.
I know she did.
But
My
that's
friend
that's what
Diane.
that's what I thought you were gonna
Yeah,
say.
she did die. She was 17 years
But
old.
was it
She
long
died.
after that?
You know what? I don't remember.
That's
It
what I thought
wasn't
you was
that
gonna
long
say.
afterwards because I think I was 15. She was 2 years older than me, and she
Okay.
died at 17. So,
Well,
yeah.
what I was going to say, you talk
Sorry.
about black cats. Do you know what white cats symbolize?
No.
It's supposed to be a harbinger of death.
Oh.
And I did not know that. And I had a dream. We're going to talk about later on about dreams or whatever and stuff.
We
but
should do a dream one.
We should. Yeah, we will do. But I
That's
had
a good
this
topic.
really intense dream many years ago, and it featured a white cat. And I couldn't, it was just this white cat there. Everything was black. This white cat was staring at me. Whatever. I wake up and I was like, crap. Now I have to go to work. Now I used to be at the office in Jamaica at 6 in the morning. So I get up at 4. It's pitch black. It's winter. Nobody else starts at 6 in the morning, but me. And so I pull in Jamaica, this parking lot, and I always parked in the same spot because I'm whatever, creature of habit at that point. In that spot, as I'm pulling up, wouldn't you know it, there's a fucking white cat. I'm sorry for good. There is a white cat in the parking spot that I always park in.
Yeah.
I pull in next to the park, and I get out, and I'm an animal at first, and I start talking to this white cat. She won't come near me. Won't come near me, and I go, okay. So I go to work. I get a phone call.
No.
Somebody died.
Oh boy. Wow.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say because it's not
Oh, yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
appropriate
pertinent
to
to the,
say. It's not pertinent.
Okay.
But somebody died.
Wow.
And so I didn't know what that meant. And I looked up what does seeing a white cat mean, and it came up a white cat
Wow.
is a harbinger of death.
Wow.
So everybody's afraid of black cats. You gotta be afraid of the damn white cats. Really? Like an all white cat, just run
And
away.
if you're a mouse, that's gonna get thrown into boiling water.
That's right.
Cats. Okay.
Well, I wanted to do the salt one because I thought there was a little interesting.
what one?
Salt.
Oh, salt.
You know, if
Oh,
you
so-
spill salt, you throw a pinch over your left
I
shoulder.
do that. I do that.
I do it too.
Yeah.
There's a couple that I do, and I know that it doesn't do anything.
It does. Anyway, I
Well,
don't know why.
when I was a kid, it does. When I was a kid, they used to say, "Well, you were throwing salt in the devil's eye," but that isn't, what I found out later and recently. So, throwing a pinch of salt over your left shoulder when spilled is to nullify bad luck. But that was because salt was so precious. And, back in the olden days,
You don't waste it.
no, because that's how you preserved and seasoned all of your food. So it was very prized. And then, that expression that says, not worth his salt?
Yes.
All right, so that is regarding Roman soldiers who were given special allowances for salt rations
I know that.
called salarium,
Yes.
which means salt money, and
Yes.
the origin of our word salary. I thought that was so interesting.
I did see
Okay,
that.
all right, let's take a break. Cause
Oh,
we have to take a break.
we
Okay.
I don't wanna
Carol is
end this now. I have to keep an eye. I wanna make sure that we don't
Oh,
lose
Carol,
you.
you're really
We
good
love
at
you,
it.
Carol, there you are.
How
Okay,
many
going, gone.
Gone.
Okay. So we're back, because I didn't want to run out of time because I'm superstitious. Not really, I'm not superstitious
If you run
at
out
all.
of time, it's bad luck.
All right, wait, let me,
So.
real quick. We have a
Okay.
little bit of time. Would you say you're superstitious?
Oh, yes.
Would you
I'll
say you're
yeah.
superstitious?
Yes.
Only sometimes
You are.
and not for
no,
real.
I'll say it for you. You are superstitious. I would say it.
Am
Yeah.
I?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
I know.
Well, I don't know about
No.
you, but I think I am a little bit.
Oh, okay, I thought you were
know,
talking to me.
yeah.
I'm like, hell no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I get very, very frustrated with that kind of stuff.
It's really, it's
No, it's
kind of
interesting.
fun.
No,
Yeah, and
oh,
it's interesting.
Oh,
so.
like my grandmother, and I think you and I discussed this, and you said, well, that's not really superstitious, but I was never allowed to cross my legs in church,
Oh.
and she yelled at me.
She's crossing them right now.
I'm crossing them right now, but she's like, no, we never cross our legs in church, and I'm like,
But did she
Well,
tell you why?
no,
Or was it just
no,
something
It's
that-
probably disrespectful. It's unladylike because
no, it had nothing to do with unladylike. There was something,
yeah.
and I was so young, but I should research that because I do find that very interesting because that always stuck with me. Like when,
I would say back in the day,
we all cross
women
our
who were
legs.
crossing their legs were swinging them, and they were the loose women, and the ladies would sit with their legs together and their hands in their lap.
well, my
Yeah.
grandmother was a country woman, so I don't know that she
Well,
was primitive,
And when I was a kid, the nuns, because I went to Catholic
Wow.
school, and the nuns used to say if they heard you whistling, only girls, the Blessed Mother cries when you whistle.
All right. Well, there's something to this. Can I tell you? Because that
She
folk-
saw the Blessed Mother cry.
No, the folk. No, the folk. It must be done in some sort of folk because that website that we looked on yesterday. Again hysterical laughing.
Uh-huh.
So there was one of them about whistling and whistling in bed. It's to say if you. It was so funny. It was so
What?
ridiculous. If you whistle in bed, the cat will bite you in the morning. And so I have a cat named Castiel who bites every one of us except my husband in the morning. So we think three of us are whistling
in your
bed.
sleep.
And because she bites us in the morning, and except Niall. So
That is
there are.
really
It's
funny.
really
Well,
funny.
in Russia, it's
Yeah.
a superstition. Not in bed, but in Russia, whistling indoors leads to financial problems.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, if you want to cure rheumatism,
Yeah,
and you don't have rheumatism, do you?
I have arthritis.
A little. Oh, well, you
yeah.
gotta let your dog sleep in bed more because
They
if you
always
let your
They
dog
all the
or
dogs
cat
sleep in bed.
sleep in bed, it will cure your rheumatism apparently.
Lewis.
But don't
yeah.
sleep in bed with a young child because if you share your bed with a young child with an older person, that older person will steal the essence of the younger person, and that younger child.
I gotta
will
go
die.
find me a younger child. I'm sorry.
Carol,
I'm sorry that did not
We're
come
gonna
out
have to
right.
censor that.
That did not. Even as it was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, nope. I'm like, it's the wine talking.
Okay, what about myths? Because I have a good family myth that I wanted to talk about.
Family.
Because I thought it was a myth and superstition.
My
so
bad.
it's
That,
not.
because I shared
Yeah,
that.
I know, she did, and I corrected her.
All right, well,
But
here's
you
a
didn't
myth.
tell
But
her.
it's fun. A myth, superstition,
Superstition.
old wives' tales.
Yeah.
It's really the same. The
And
same
I've
animal.
said this probably to you guys, whoever are my friends, you probably heard this. Okay, but I was raised with a certain family myth about my beauty mark.
Oh, okay.
It's called a beauty mark.
Yeah,
They say
yeah.
it's
when
always
I was a
beauty
kid,
mark
we always
on
called them beauty
on the
marks.
face of a beauty mark. That there's a person born in every generation in this family with the beauty mark in this location because
Oh.
our family descended from Spanish royalty.
Oh, and they used to
And
always have the big
That would,
symbols.
and the person who was born with the beauty mark in this place would be the one who would inherit the throne.
Mhm.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
Oh.
Now my mother's mother had the beauty mark,
Mhm.
and apparently there was somebody in all generations. Now, whatever. It's only because I've started doing genealogy that I've been able to trace things back. And wouldn't you know it, we are traced back to Spanish royalty.
Mm.
Wow.
Which makes me think, like, oh, I wonder if there was some sort of,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
this myth has been brought. Oh, I am.
Did I ever tell you how I want to be friends with you forever?
Exactly. But I mean, that's like a myth that gets passed
Yeah.
down from family
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
generation, and it's like a myth that you don't,
It's so funny because I'm talking to Jason. I can't remember my son the other night, and I can't remember what you're saying, but he goes, "Yeah, it's like telephone. Like when you pass the stories, like what's really true and what's not." And I can't remember now what we were talking about.
But did your families have myths like anything like that?
Well, I don't know if you would call it a myth. My grandfather was who killed a bear with his bare hands. That was
like Davy Crockett.
yeah. And my grandfather was very but then I heard later on that he may have had a knife because the bear was attacking him.
Okay.
The bear was
Likely story.
yeah, but well, I was from upstate New York in the
Yes,
country.
I know.
And so that was and another one. My siblings are gonna get really mad at me for sharing this one, but I just I'm hesitant to even share this one.
Do it.
Be authentic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connie, Colin, Calvin.
All the C's. So it was always said that my father was born, he was 15 ounces. That's how much he weighed,
okay.
15 ounces. And that the coroner came to the house with the death certificate, and his father, my grandfather, told the coroner to leave, that the child was going to live. I'm sorry, Kim says not laughing. They put him in the oven to keep him warm.
I believe that.
Okay, they didn't have
that.
incubators
I
then.
believe that.
15 ounces. I'm sorry, there's just no way in
How long
hell.
was he in the oven?
I believe he was tiny. But you think about the infants that are in the hospitals in this day and age and how they're hooked up to everything. His heart, so much of him couldn't have been formed yet at 15 ounces.
Yeah, his lungs wouldn't have been formed.
He would not have survived. I believe he was tiny. I don't doubt that. And I did find a record of my grandmother had, after everybody passed away, whatever, we're going through all this stuff. And she had his birth record or whatever. And I swear to you, it said 15 ounces, but it had something crossed out, like, or erased. I think maybe he was like 4 pounds, 15 ounces, or 2 pounds.
Okay.
He was definitely more. But it was a family lore, and my siblings, they're like, oh, well, God was good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. So that's the myth in my family, and I think I'm the only one that said, come on, guys, 15 ounces, there's just no way. You look at something, a bird that's 15 ounces, there's no way.
Well, it's funny because with my dad, the story was when my nana used to say, he was 15 pounds when he was born. I say, Jesus,
Oh my
15 pounds, I've had a child.
Oh my God.
And my mom used to say, you know what? Back in the day, everybody was born at home. The doctor would say, around 15 pounds, you know.
That's
you don't
true.
have the weights.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't.
Right.
You know.
I don't, trust me, I know that he was tiny. It was he really was, and he grew up to be a very strong man. I mean, everybody knew in the town, Chester Sears was a very strong.
He was a firefighter.
Yes, he was a firefighter, and he had a sawmill, and he could do the logs, and so I'm not taking that. Oh, he did the logs.
Yeah, he's like Paul Bunyan. He grew to be 9 feet tall.
He was a strong man, but still, the whole thing with him being 15 ounces. I was like, because I used to just, tell people that story, and then I started like questioning it. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's very small. It's very small, and I remember I'm a godmother, early on to my cousin who was born very premature, and she was small. I think she was under 3 pounds.
Yeah,
and I remember
Jason was premature.
Yeah, I remember seeing her in the incubator. It's hard to imagine somebody, especially back then, without having all of that technology. Because I can remember very vividly seeing her hooked up.
On his own.
Yeah.
No.
Especially in the oven.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Not a wood burning stove.
Oh God! No! I'm thinking like a KitchenAid.
So you can't keep it on warm.
No, I'm sorry. So you know, we've lost it. We've totally lost it. When my son was born, he was preemie. He was 4 pounds 7 ounces. And I remember my mother when she saw him, she goes, "Oh my God, he's so tiny. He's like a little bird." I'm like, "Yeah, 4 pounds." So, and that's like a little bird.
No, it's so tiny because that visual, and you know, because you had a son.
Yeah.
To see that.
Yeah.
That small.
Again, Calvin, Connie, Carl.
And
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. It's just it's a different perspective. It's a different.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes the myths are
Sometimes
they're rooted
it's just
in reality.
a fun
They're rooted
family
in reality.
thing to pass down and believe
right.
in.
No, but they
so.
would. It would be said like it was like, oh, you know.
No, but it doesn't change the fact who the man was.
No,
and
not
apparently, and
good
all
point.
that I've heard was the man was a
He
wonderful
wasn't
man.
telling the lie.
No, he was. No, he kept that story
No, but it
alive
doesn't
because that's
say.
what he was told. But yeah, no, and
Yeah.
you know, and I do think like, you know, you were saying like back in the day they didn't have the scales.
Yeah.
Back in the day you told stories and that
Yeah.
was just, it was telephone. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden they got like, oh, he was 2 pounds, you know, 15 ounces. Oh yeah, he was a 1 pound, 15 ounces. Oh, he was 15 ounces.
All right, so but though to bring it back to the superstition
Yes.
where we were.
Mm-hmm.
One superstition I've had, and I researched it yesterday, and it seems like I've been doing the opposite of what everyone else to do. But I've always been told by my mom, who is very superstitious. Sorry, Mom.
We still
If
love you.
if we have a bad dream, if I have a bad dream, what you're supposed to do is tell it to somebody right away. Because if you don't tell it, then it will come true. Now,
wow.
I dream very vividly. Like, my dreams are like I'm in a movie. Like,
Yeah.
every night. I could walk in there. I could write novels about the details, the conversations, the visions. I could tell you everything I see. It could go on for hours. I could write a whole book, to be honest, about what my dreams are like every night. So if I have a bad one, and I've been having kind of a few bad ones lately, I have to say it, or else it won't come true.
But didn't you tell Niall the dream you had about the military? Didn't you tell him the next morning?
I did, but I didn't know who it was about.
Tell our audience about that dream because that was just recently.
So I had a dream a few days ago, or whatever, when it was, a couple weeks ago. I woke up and I had this dream that I was watching and viewing this military funeral. It was a humongous military funeral. There were cannons, there were people in uniform, there were spectators, it was a whole big but I wasn't really, I felt like the person I was that the funeral was for wasn't somebody I knew personally, because I wasn't like emotional. I felt like I was an observer looking around, but it lasted for hours, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I was stuck in this dream I felt like forever. And I was like, I woke up and I'm thinking, this has got to mean something, because I had this very profound dream, and I said, who do I know who's in the military? So I tried to equate it to real life, and my brother is in the military. He's a commander in the U.S. Navy, and I thought, oh my God, is this a dream about my brother? And I was really scared about that, but yet something didn't seem right, because I said, if it was about my brother, wouldn't I be emotional? Wouldn't I feel like more than an observer? Yeah. But whatever, of course, I'm raised with a superstition. I have to call my mother up at 8:39 in the morning and tell her I'm having this dream. So she starts crying, which is not the right thing to do. But she tells me to tell the bad dream, because then it won't come true, if you tell it, So I'm like, oh my God, I had this dream, and the only one I could think about is Andrew, that it might be him. And as we're talking on the phone, I have the news on in the background. And I see pop up on the news saying that Queen Elizabeth her doctors are concerned that she's got a health issue or whatever. And all of a sudden, I go, oh my God. I go, it's the fucking Queen, Mom. The Queen is dead. I go, they're telling her she's alive, but she's dead. I go, she's dead, and this is what I saw. And sure enough, just a few hours later, it was announced she was dead. But of course, she's probably dead for all we know, a long time.
I think that she was dead when all along.
Yeah.
And that
those
makes
couple
complete
hours.
sense of what, because why would there be thousands, I love my brother, but there were not going to be thousands of people attending a military funeral. It
Yeah.
was thousands of people, and there wouldn't be cannons, and there were cannons
right.
there, and I go, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
So that was something, yeah.
Now, do you have other?
Well, speaking of the Queen,
Yes.
now have you been to the Tower of London?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had an
Have you?
actually a very private tour.
She did.
A very private tour.
You're welcome.
Did you see
Thank
the
you,
Ravens?
yes. What do you mean the Ravens?
The Ravens
the
and the
Ravens.
Tower
You're right.
of
Let's talk about
London.
that. No, let's talk about Ravens in general.
Well,
I love that. I love
can
that.
talk about
Oh,
the
I can.
Ravens in the Tower of London and why they're there.
Okay.
Because it's a big superstition.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens, if the Ravens ever leave the tower, the kingdom and the tower will fall.
Yeah.
And that happened during King Charles II's reign.
Yeah.
I don't remember them mentioning that at all.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
always, right now I think there's 7 ravens, there has to always be 6 ravens there.
They may
You
have
weren't
said,
paying
I
attention.
wasn't paying attention. It was just me
Yeah.
and another couple because it was like a nighttime tour. It was
Yeah.
very
The Ravens were
awesome.
asleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there used to be a lot of ravens in England.
Right.
And during King Charles' reign, he had an astronomer named John Fetterman or somebody. I don't know.
Another
I forgot his
Fetterman.
name. I don't know if it was Fetterman. It was John somebody.
Right.
Started with an F.
Okay.
And there's 2 different stories. That one of them was that the ravens were like flying in front of his telescope, and he complained to King Charles and said, "You have to get rid of these ravens. I can't observe." It was an observatory.
Oh, okay.
And the other one was that King Charles didn't like them pooping on the telescope.
Well, yeah.
But whatever happened
He's the one that
is
was
that
killed, right?
King Charles was, he was beheaded.
That's why.
Yeah. King Charles the First was beheaded.
Oh,
King
okay.
Charles the Second wasn't beheaded.
Okay.
So he was told he wanted to get rid of the ravens. And then he was told by an advisor, or one of the stories is that the astronomer told him that if the ravens ever leave the tower, the crown and the tower will fall.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
So in America, we do have ravens, but more commonly is crows.
Crows, yeah.
And there's a lot of mythical superstitions with crows.
Right,
And
yeah.
the Native Americans and also American folklore have a theory. So to this day, I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah,
I count the crows.
yeah. Counting crows.
that-
I love
One
that
of my
band.
favorite bands.
I
One
know,
of my favorite.
I know, I love
But
them
I mean,
too.
like it's absolutely true. If you count, and anytime I see crows, I count how many crows I see because it will tell you what's. It's supposed to be what's gonna happen or what's gonna happen for that day.
Look at your
I know. I don't know. Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
It's there's a poem about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I go by the crows. Absolutely, I go
Crows
by
are
the
kind of
crows.
fascinating.
Yeah.
When my grandkids were little, I was up in the park with them one day, and up in Teddy Roosevelt Park, there's a lot of crows. You always hear them squawking, cawing, up in the trees. And we had the stroller parked, and the kids were like running around. Jessica was there, and one of her friends with their kids, and I had left my house keys in the tray
Oh, they
of
like
the carriage. And the crow was trying to steal me.
Yeah.
He kept on landing on the carriage.
Oh my
And he was
God.
trying to steal a
They
shiny
like
thing.
shiny
Yeah.
things.
Wow.
I used to talk to them as kids. I remember being like 3 or 4, running out to the yard and just like
Yeah.
cawing with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, they're very intelligent too.
They're
crows.
super intelligent. Love them, and they
Yeah.
drop the best things in my garden. I love them.
Big
Oh.
droppings, right?
No, not those
I know.
dropping. They like drop great seeds, and I love the crows. Pay attention to the crows. Look up the poem
Yeah.
if you want to learn what.
So is
what
that
it
it?
means.
Well, the only other one I have is the opening an umbrella indoors,
Oh.
and that kind of disappointed me.
Why?
The origin of it. My grandmother was big on that one.
Yeah,
if you opened up an umbrella.
Right.
So I said, I wonder how that originated. And that originated in the 18th century Victorian England when they started using metal spokes in umbrellas. Exactly. That's why it originated.
No.
I'm not kidding. I was so
joking.
disappointed.
Don't drop an umbrella on the bed.
You
though.
did it because you
really?
can hurt someone, and that would cause an argument or a fight. And they said, so the superstition arose as a deterrent to opening up umbrellas indoors. And I said, oh, that was
All right.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, as we leave though, what direction does the head of your bed face?
Let's
You
see.
mean like
Mine
northeast or-
faces east.
Very good.
Okay, mine would
I read a
face-
superstition about that once too.
Okay, wait, let
See?
me think.
Yeah, I think east and south are good.
No.
Or
Okay,
south is
wait. Mine faces. Wait, what you get on? What direction is that?
That
is west.
is
Yes. Yeah, mine's
Is
west.
it west?
Yeah.
Melville Road, east,
Yeah.
west.
Yeah.
Hempstead Turnpike goes
This way. North. Oh no, this
north
this
to
is south.
south.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
So I
maybe
face south.
Okay, so that's not that great.
Okay. Wait, you gotta bug me. Okay. Whatever. Okay.
So no, the superstition I've read is that your bed should always face east-west, which is the direction of the rotation of the earth.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
And so that's something
Yeah.
I've read.
Yeah. No.
Don't ever throw an umbrella on your bed because it will bring bad luck.
Okay.
I don't
okay.
know about that.
Especially if it's wet.
Yeah.
That is true. Oh, we could go on and on with superstitions.
Yeah.
Well, how about the walking onto the ladder one? I found that
Thank you.
interesting.
I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, there's two different ones. It started in Egypt in like 3000 BC.
Wow.
But they thought it was because it forms a triangle.
Yes,
And the
it
triangle
does.
was
Yes.
the trinity of their god.
Absolutely,
So
and
it
it's a
was
very- triangles are magical.
sacrilegious
Yeah.
and very bad luck if you did that. And then it trickled down to the Christians, and they said a ladder was leaned up against the crucifix. So it's associated with evil and betrayal and death.
But why, if you walk under it, is it bad?
Well, that's if I guess if you don't walk under it, is doesn't portend death. I don't know. I don't know. This is all the information that I got.
Peggy, this was such a great
It was
topic.
awesome. I
This is
love
the
it.
first time that we extended it because it was so interesting.
I know.
And yeah, really, we could absolutely
Loved it.
do more with this. We want to hear if you have superstitions and if you believe in them or old wives'
I
tales.
think they could be cultural
We
as
didn't
well.
even get into the old wives' tales.
Oh,
No.
I didn't
Yes,
that maybe
we'll
that's
have-
what, I
we'll-
love old
Yeah,
wives'
we'll
we
tales.
have to do another one
Oh,
on
we
that.
have to do that.
We have a
Yeah.
lot more podcasts to do, and one thing I wrote on social media, I think it was yesterday, is like, I don't know how many subscribers we're getting or whatever,
Doesn't matter.
but it kind of matters to me because it's a lot of work, but I'm having fun, and I get to see my friends. It's like a commitment that we get to. Well, I get to see Peggy because we work together with on the road book events, but we get to see Judy, and we get to have a little bit of wine.
And now we're going out to dinner, and I'm
Yes.
starving.
Yes, absolutely.
Wish you were here.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching us, and
We'll see you
tell us
next
what you
time.
think. Yes,
Yes, definitely
absolutely.
comment. Tell us next time. Tell your friends.
Yes,
Keep those cards and letters coming in. Isn't that what they used to say after
Yes.
laughing or something?
I don't know about laughing, but yeah.
To receive a card or letter.
I
would like
It's
to.
called email.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.